place. And this we do by enabling companies and also private people to basically sponsor or gift impact in the form of planted trees, corals grown, areas restored, or education sponsored, and many different other areas. And in that sense, really see companies as part of the solution and also as multipliers for positive impact. This, of course, also has this big angle of creating awareness for example, customers, for suppliers, for other stakeholders, employees, which companies actually gift impact to. And in that sense, really create awareness for the Sustainable Development Goals and for the really, really big importance of collective action and everyone really being a part of this mission to regenerate the world and facilitating positive impact towards the SDGs. And really with our LinkedIn Live sessions, we want to raise awareness and do education in terms of the different impact areas that we as Impact Hero are active in. And yeah, the goal is really always to have an exchange. And if you have questions throughout the talk, please always also use the chat to ask them, and we will try to facilitate them. And yes, with that, I would like to talk about our today's session, which is kind of a special one because usually we rather speak to people that are more external, but today we speak to someone who is really, really internal to what we are doing. And as you know, we started to give a little background as Grow My Trees. So we started our whole idea of positive impact with a focus on reforestation and agroforestry activities, so really planting trees. And in that sense, the whole idea around reforestation and agroforestry was a really important one. And we as Impact Hero, of course, do not usually implement projects ourselves, but we work with really, really great project partners who actually do and supervise the tree planting activities in the ground for us. And in that sense, I would like to introduce our guest today, who is Khalifa Mganga. Khalifa is the Executive Director and Head of Planting at Forest Focus. He's an experienced forester and a certified forest garden specialist and studied at the University of Agriculture. Khalifa is born and raised in Korogwe in Tanzania, which is in the northeast, close to part of the Usambara Mountains, who I had the pleasure to visit twice last year and ask Khalifa a billion questions when I was there, because of course it's a little bit tough sometimes to understand what tree planting actually, how those activities really work. It sounds really abstract, but once you go there and you see the whole process, a lot of questions arise as well, but you slowly start understanding practically how things are working in the ground. And Khalifa Assad established Forest Focus, which is a forestry NGO in 2020 with a mission to really empower local communities and restore the Usambara Mountains, and is implementing agroforestry and reforestation projects in several different districts of Tanga and the Kilimanjaro regions. Welcome, Khalifa. Mambo. Very excited to have you here today. And maybe before we start talking, I would really love to know what was the moment when you decided to dedicate your time to sustainability?
Yeah, thank you very much, Hannah. I'm so excited to speak today in this event. Well, that was 7 years ago for the first time when I revisited my home village in Korogwe. And then, since I left in 2002 for further studies in other regions. So when I went back, that was, I remember, 7 years ago, and I found things very different at that place. And one of the changes, a few changes that I could see, a river stream that we used to swim when we were teenagers, that was not existing anymore. And there were abandoned beds, and one of these types was finches, the goldfinches. I could not see any of these beds. And sad enough, one of the larger trees, that was Militia excelsa, I remember, it was used to host several events in my primary schools. That was, again, not there. So I just decided to take an initiative to find out what is the reason for all these, changes. At last, I came to realize that these are red flags, which means we are now losing almost every treasure that we inherited from the past because of how people are behaving nowadays, maybe a little bit due to, climate change and stuff. So that's when I and a few, age mates decided to sit down and do some research and see if we can restore some of these, lost, items, including the river, or maybe, trying to restore the lost biodiversity, including the trees, which, are already cut down, and maybe in the later, in the future,